Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Caroline O'Hara.
And I'm Ann O'Hara. It's nice to meet you all. Thank you for joining. We wanted to talk about our business. It's called Caroline's Birdie Tweets. And I'll go through a couple things here, and then Caroline will continue to jump in with comments as well. So just to tell you just a little bit about us, we are a mom and daughter team. It's just the two of us here at home as well. I adopted Caroline when she was 2 and from China. And we have gone through, she's just turned 18 this past Saturday.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, she's trying to figure out why that's such a big deal. Everyone keeps making such a big deal out of it. But yeah, she just turned 18 and, you know, has gone through a lot, just like a lot of our kids. She was born with cleft lip and palate. She's had a lot of surgeries. And then later on was diagnosed with autism, epilepsy, heart defect, tumor, things like that. We are, you know, in and out of doing things with our medical specialists and our team, as many people are. As for myself, I have been in mostly a human resources role for most of my career. When I lost my job in the beginning of COVID and we decided that we would do something during the COVID downtime, I guess is what we call it. And we were trying to kind of work together with the Hansen Center, which is where Caroline does her equine horse riding therapy. And we wanted to help them raise some money because, of course, they didn't have people riding, they didn't have fees coming in and such. So we started collecting things, everything from paper towels to cat food to whatever we could to try to get, you know, to donate to them. And we decided to try to come up with a craft that we could make and fundraise with. I am not a crafty person at all. I don't do any kind of crafting, but I had remembered something related to these birdseed wreaths and ornaments and things like that. And so it just seemed to fit really well. Caroline is a very sensory oriented person. So the thought of, you know, digging your hands into a mix of birdseed and paste and things like that and doing what we do worked out really nicely. Real quick, as we just go through kind of what our mission has been, and we've got it written out a little bit nicer, but we wanted to make sure we hit a couple points. One of the reasons we did something like this is to stay engaged and connected to the community. As we said, you know, for someone who like Caroline, who needs to be out in talking to people and you know, being engaged with people, as with all of us, as well as our kids, it was a really hard time of being isolated. So this allowed us to, you know, safely, we made our products and delivered them all over town to all sorts of people that she had gone to school with and teachers and all sorts of people that ordered. And it was a way to kind of connect with them, even though, you know, we still had to safely distance when we delivered and such. But it also, one of the main things was to just provide Caroline with some practical business skills. That's probably one of the main focuses of almost all the businesses like ours that we've talked with people about is, you know, they work obviously in the transition centers and in high schools with vocational pre-voc type skills. It's okay. Yeah. Caroline's vision is pretty limited, so she's always getting right up to the screen with her eyes right on the screen.
Sorry about that.
So really working through getting some, you know, not just the customer contact, that's really her strength, but inventory, counting things, all the different skills that, you know, trying to learn math in high school and grade school was one thing, but helping count how many things we need and what we need to deliver and things like that is just more practical, something she can use in a job someday. Obviously fostering independence and ownership. And then really our long-term goal as we grow is to involve other people, other friends to work with us. We've talked to the transition centers about possibly doing some of the work for us. We've talked to some senior centers about the fact that they've got a lot of idle hands that might want to, everything from cut burlap to whatever, there are things that, you know, as part of our process that they would love to help as well. And then lastly, just donating to organizations. We probably donate as much as we sell. We give to a lot of senior centers because a lot of elderly people love birds. Everyone loves birds, but we also donate a lot to law enforcement. We do a lot with Special Olympics. So we make police badges and fire trucks and all those kinds of things. bring those to different events. And then we've done quite a few fundraisers. And mentioning the kind of how we got started, let me go to the next page. We'll talk just for a second. So why don't you tell them, what are Birdie tweets?
Birdseed wreaths and ornaments, and to delight bird watchers of all ages. And they're also handmade. Oh.
Exactly. So what we make are birdseed wreaths and ornaments. We'll show you some samples, and then we've got pictures throughout our presentation. As I said, how we got started, you know, we really wanted to fundraise to help the Hansen Center. And we were making horseshoes and horses. And so themed birdseed ornament type thing. And very quickly, because my mind goes to the marketing side of things, we could make any shape we wanted to, really. And so we ended very quickly to, I mean, everything from we make a shark. People love the shark. We make all sorts of animals. We've done you know, obviously a lot of hearts, a lot of shamrocks at St. Patrick's Day, a lot of wreaths. People have given them for wedding presents, etc. So it's kind of a fun thing and also a nice gift. It's environmentally focused and things like that. As for Caroline's focus, you know, she is able to, when we go to different events and things like that, some of the things that people always want to talk to Caroline about what we do. We have sat alongside businesses where their teen or disability struggles more verbally. And I know that's hard for some of the parents because they don't want to be the one that's out there. You know, they're doing this with their child, but at the same time, you know, they want their child to be kind of at the forefront to be able to talk about what they're doing and everything. So I know that that's definitely a concern. You know, I have the advantage, sorry about that, this thing's going to keep popping up, sorry, of Caroline doesn't stop talking, which I guess can be a good thing too. She wasn't supposed to be able to talk when she was little. They didn't think she would be able to. And so now she
And the gift of God.
and she uses it all the time. But people want to know how we started the business. So why don't you talk just a little bit about these things, about what people ask you. They ask you how we started our business.
Yeah, they asked me how we started our business and the ingredients.
What are the ingredients of what we put in?
Gelatin, water.
And what do we do? What is our
We
process?
cook it up and we mix.
Yeah, so we cook everything up, and then we mix everything with the seeds. We put them all in the molds, pack them really tight, and then we dry them for a couple days at least. People ask a lot about how to keep away the squirrels. Do they ask you that all the time?
Yes, they do.
What do you tell them?
We put cayenne pepper in it. And,
Well, we don't, because we would touch our eyes and be in a lot of pain.
yeah.
But we tell people that it is very safe to put something hot, like a cayenne pepper or sauce or something like that, on birdseed. In fact, you can actually mix it into the birdseed if you want. Be careful getting it on your hands or putting it on something and having the wind blow in your eyes. And why is it that it's okay for the birds and not for the squirrels?
Because of the receptors.
Saliva and receptors. So birds don't have saliva and the receptors that it matters to them, and it's very safe for them. So it doesn't bother them at all, but the squirrels do. They're like us, right?
Right.
And then, as you can tell, just talking to people ask her, you know, she's got a fantastic memory, which is again a big advantage for us. People walk up to us at the farmers markets. We do our local farmers market. And someone will walk up that she met a year ago and say, you know, hi Dave, how are you? And because everybody's names, everyone she's probably ever met, she remembers their names, their kids, their dogs, etc. So that has been something that's really where she's in her element, is being able to chat with people. Our goal is, when we're at events, is for Caroline to get more involved in the money. We are, you know, it's people are usually wanting to move on, so you don't really want to sit and hold them back, but at the same time, that's one of the main things, is to really get her involved in being able to make change and give people change and things like that. Okay, we'll move on pretty quickly here. So just talking about successes, I guess one thing I would say is just being very cautious about our growth. We've been very intentional about how quickly we've done things. We've held back from sharing it. We don't do a lot of social media yet. We want to, but we also have to be really careful about, you know, people say, oh, you should have an Etsy shop and you should do this. There's a million things that you can do. There's no shortage of options. On the other hand, how much time and capacity do we have? Do we want to have tons of orders that we can't fill successfully and quickly? So we've been really careful not to overshare and kind of walking along the pace that we have, and our pace goes up and down. In the past, we've been doing this for almost 2 years, about a year and a half, 2 years. In the past year, Caroline has been in the hospital twice. We've been in the ER probably 9 times. I mean, she's been out of school. She's changed from her big high school to a small therapeutic day school. You know, we've had a lot going on, as most families do. And so doing our business at the same time, we've had to, you know, kind of work all that in between everything else that's going on. So I would just say, you know, that's one thing. And we mentioned that on the advice page as well. But marketing samples, as I said, we give things away all the time. We figure the more we get it out there, the better. So we're constantly handing things out. If we go and get something from another mom in town who's, you know, offered up something for free that we run over to their porch to get, we always leave a Birdie tweet. I mean, we just give them wherever we can. Referrals and networking, that's how mostly we've grown, is doing our farmers market and our moms list. The Clarendon Hills moms list is a very active network of about 1,000 moms. And so that's been what we've relied on much more so than our website and social media. You know, doing a website, keeping it updated, making sure it's professional, all those other kinds of things, that's great. And it's something really important. We're uploading more pictures, in fact, tonight, because we're in an online fair this weekend. But again, we haven't done a lot of it yet because, you know, we're just doing as much as we can, as fast as we can. And we plan to do more, but it's still on the to-do list to do more social media. One of our other successes is just innovation. Again, I love thinking about ideas and creative ways to share our products. And so, like, one of the things we did is we've gotten to know our friends at at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, which I think I can. So one of the things we did is we bought these cards. They're Bird Spy bingo cards. So, you know, you can have bingo if you see a bird carrying something, or a bird with a feather, or whatever it might be. And so we buy them from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, the bird people, and we just give them away. We give them away with whenever someone purchases something, and it's just something fun. They're laminated, reusable. People can give them. Grandparents with their, you know, grandkids can go out and kind of do this and whatever it might be. But we're trying to just add value to the products that we put out there. And we're trying to also create some new things. So we've offered up hummingbird feeders with an instruction on, you know, how to make, well, it's very simple, what to make inside, how to clean them, etc. Just different things related to everything related to birds. I'm just checking on the time.
Oh, okay.
The time here. Oh, okay, let's keep going. I'm doing the talking just because I want to keep us on track, but Caroline is going to talk a little bit shortly. We've done a lot of events, a lot of disability related events. We've done things that where we've gone and had our table at Giant Steps and other places, you know, but we've also done some typical events at a church. As I said, we do our farmers markets. We've done a lot of favors as well. That's one thing that we think we want to do a lot more of. So we did our little hearts for a wedding. We've done baby shower favors with, you know, little elephants and frogs and things like that. We did a golf outing for a company, an executive that's on the board at Giant Steps, bought 150 of them from us for his golf outing at his company. So, you know, we're wanting to do more of that. We think that's really fun. We make our little insert card with their logo on it and things like that, and customize things for them. Co-marketing with other businesses. There's obviously a lot of businesses that have disability focus, but just also with other businesses, realtors who want to give the house shape that we have out to their new buyers and things like that. We also partner with different organizations. Oh, see an extra comma in our presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Serving Up Hope is a tennis foundation or a tennis organization. Caroline and I are involved in Special Olympics, the Hanson Center, etc. We've also joined our Chamber of Commerce. That has been fun. We get on the Chamber of Commerce meetings with all of our business owners here in the town, and yeah, we're trying to be a serious business, not just a crafting little thing, which is fine as well. But at the same time, we wanted to get involved with more of our other business owners as we go. Challenges, I can just go through this real quickly. I've already mentioned a couple of them. The focus, it's really easy to think when people like your idea, there's a lot of suggestions about how much more you could grow and how big. I've had someone in my ear for a year or two now talking about the fact that I really should just have these manufactured overseas. We can just be the marketing people and we'll market these and someone else can make them. But that's not why we really got into business. We got into business to make these and to get our hands dirty and, you know, in the seeds and whatever. So it's not something where we want to grow quickly, and maybe we could do that. But again, we're trying to stick with our mission. Just the resources that you have to invest upfront, everything from, you know, your time, your energy, money, etc. The business aspects, understanding, you know, that you're getting your domain name. If you're going to have a website, maybe you're not, maybe just a Facebook site, that's fine. You know, the accounting, your structure, if you're going to be an independent sole proprietorship or an LLC or those kinds of things. Some of that stuff we haven't figured out yet. We figured we would just wait it out because we didn't have to make those decisions yet. Obviously your pricing, that was a big shift our prices again. Trying to figure out what people will pay for what you do is an interesting thing because people want to buy from you because they want to support your mission and they also like your products, but at the same time you want to you kind of want to maximize what you're charging as well, so that you're making sure that not only you're covering costs but you're making money. So that's one that we spent a lot of time on and still do. Obviously refining and improving. We have a custom seed mix now because now we're bird seed experts, as we say. Not really, but we try. And then also managing Caroline's needs with our business. In fact, we were supposed to do a fair last weekend and Caroline was not up for it, and we had to cancel. Another lucky vendor got our spot. We're trying to do only throughout this holiday some of our smaller things. We have another gigantic fair that we got into that we were on the wait list for. That's in 2 weeks, and we're likely gonna let them know that we're not going to be able to. Very challenging for me to cancel something, but at the same time, it has to fit with what her capacity is and what she can handle. If she can't handle it, then we don't do it. Even if we can make a lot of money, even if we can, it's just we've got to balance the two things. And then I think this is our last one, just about advice. A couple of themes that we've had throughout: knowing why you're starting a business and being intentional, and then your plan kind of follows from there. And then being honest with your capacity. That's one of the things, as I keep alluding to, that we have had to continually adjust and accept with what we can and can't do. It's okay to be a small business, you know. Everyone's not going into business to become some, you know, next big idea or whatever else. You know, I had someone when we first started doing this, I think we had maybe a couple people, you should go on Shark Tank and all that kind of stuff. And that's not what I mean, again, that's funny that people would say that, but at the same time, we're wanting to do what we want to do and focusing a lot on the areas that we want to, and that suits us. Check in with your child. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice. Do they like it? Do they want to keep doing it? There are a couple times at the farmers markets when we had to be up at 6:30 every morning that Caroline did not want to go, or would come and then sit in the chair until 11:30 or so from most of the farmers market asleep under a blanket. And so we kind of were willing to shift our priorities where we did it every other week, and we didn't do it every week, and we started kind of spacing things out. And then I guess the next thing would just be understand the difference of how I view the concept of work and obligation and commitment, how I view that as a professional versus how Caroline views that. So when I say that we are signed up for something, regardless of the fee, which is important, but we've made a commitment to show up. We've made a commitment to an organization to be there and to be part of what they're doing. And so for me to then back out of that, I wouldn't do that when I, as a professional in a workplace, you don't get to do that. So it's been really hard for me to accept that we have to, as I said, pull back or cancel or do things that, we would like to do. But I have to use from Caroline. And, for her, it's like, well, we just don't want to, and doesn't, she doesn't have the work mentality or the work ethic, she hasn't been in a professional job to know that, well, no, you don't just cancel something. So that's been kind of an interesting kind of going back and forth around what an obligation is and all those kinds of things, but then also being willing to. And then the last thing I would say is it's okay to market your business from a disability perspective. The reason I say that is I had a hard time for a little bit when we were doing this, where we would say, well, are we just trying to sell stuff by saying that Caroline has a disability? That made me feel very awkward. Like, that's not, we're trying to sell something that we really like and that's a good product. But then when we put, our story on there, does it make people feel sorry for us and want to buy from us? And that's not what we're doing. And one of the marketing people that we know at the Ray Graham Association gave us great advice. He's like, this is what nonprofit organizations do every day, all day long. They are speaking to people who, pulling on heartstrings in the sense where you're wanting people to understand that this is why you're doing this. And yes, we'd love your help, but we also want to sell you a good product. So it got us past the awkwardness of trying to make sure that we're not selling Caroline disability, we're selling Caroline's opportunities, and but we're selling a good product just because you don't have to buy it because she has a disability. So anyway, those are some of the things, and then I think we're probably at time for questions.
We are, although certainly if there's anything Caroline wants to add before we jump into questions, we'd love to hear from her.
Oh,
He was going to show you one of our, this is one of our wreaths. Hold it back. Here you go. Oh, birdseed everywhere, all over the computer.
yeah, that's not good.
There you go. Put it down. Okay. What do you want to share? What do you want to share about what you like most?
I like making sometimes. Yeah.
What else?
I almost said what I am because sometimes
Yeah.
yeah.
I hear you on that.
No, I don't. No. I like the birds.
Caroline, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you move back a little bit? It's when you lean forward, the microphone doesn't catch your voice. We want to hear you. So will you lean back a little bit when you're talking? Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was
Oh,
perfect.
I like Ruby throated hummingbirds.
The hummingbirds.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Well, we can take a few questions. I'm going to look through the chat. I will say, first of all, mostly you're getting a lot of compliments. People love your idea. They're very excited about your business.
Oh.
Very lovely and creative.
Thank you.
One question is, what parts of the project does Caroline work on directly?
You want to answer?
Yeah. What was the question?
It was what parts of the work do you do directly yourself?
Delivering.
She does all the deliveries.
Yeah. And making them.
Yeah, she
Oh.
she doesn't do all of the making of them.
Mhm.
I raise my hand when I'm in the middle of the night
Yeah.
to catch us up. What about when we do our sorting and our cookie cutters and things like
Yeah, sort of.
that? Mhm.
Okay.
Sorting out the cookie cutters and our molds and things like that into their categories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Packaging and ribbon too.
Yeah. Packaging.
Yeah, we do that together. We have to put the ribbons on and then package them. We package them into a nice cellophane and then apply them to it. Yeah.
Great. So a couple more comments about what a unique and practical business this is. People think you're amazing.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
We have another question from Debbie. I've ordered from you and love the items. Did you get a grant to fund the business?
No, we've not gotten anything. No, we've just used our own resources in the business. I know I was on something the other day, National Disability Association. There was a thing around funding and getting grants and things like that. We would love to. I know that, what's this, Scott Nixon?
Life's plan? No.
Life's Plan, Scott Nixon, you guys might know him, but they have a, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, Mom.
Thanks for the help.
You're welcome.
They have a grant. They're not doing it this year. They were doing it last year. And so we applied for it only to find out that Caroline was only 17 last year. And it was for adults with disabilities. So she needed to be 18. And then we circled back with them this year, but they weren't doing it. So hopefully they'll do it next year. But they have a fund where they were giving out, I think, up to $2,000. And they were looking for people to apply for it. We were referred to it by Ray Graham, and they were looking for businesses that they wanted to give money to. We're like, we'll take it, but it didn't end up working out. But that's something we would really like to explore. It's just something we haven't done yet.
Okay. We have one more question for Caroline. Caroline, do you go to the bank to make your deposit for the money that you earn?
So.
Well, we do it online.
Yeah,
Okay.
We also go through Shopify. Our site is through Shopify, which is a full commerce site. So if people buy off our website, or we have a credit card thing that we have at fairs and such, it comes through. But then Caroline helps do the online deposits with
I do.
checks and things like that. We have to take pictures of the checks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the big thing would be, because we still obviously at events, people paying cash. I would love for her to be able to take a 20 and give the person the change. And we were making a chart so that she would know how much to give. It's just if there's someone else waiting and people need to move on to go get their produce or whatever they're going to get at a farmer's market, it's been hard to stop and take that much time. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way to go about doing that. Because that's something that, when we get home, she can be counting the money and figuring out what
I get from Savish all the time.
Yeah, she takes the money out of the cash box and goes buys shrimp ceviche. She says she does at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
She spends as much as we make usually. Yeah. So she takes the money and goes buy stuff.
From the vendors.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's a caution as to how much you spend versus how much you bring in. If there's delicious treats, there's usually some overspending.
We have another question asking if you're using the student earned income exclusion.
No, I'm not familiar with it in the sense where no, we have not, but that's something we should look into. That's not something that we know about. So
I forget, did you say is Caroline 18?
she just turned 18 on Saturday.
On Saturday.
Oh, congratulations and happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is referring to the student earned income exclusion that applies for SSI benefits. So she hasn't applied for that yet.
She hasn't. We're in the process of getting all that started. So yeah, no, we haven't done that yet.
Okay. I think that covers all of the questions. Thank you so much, Caroline, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much. And you have on there your website, so people can go to your website and connect with you personally if they would like. birdietweets.org, which is great. Thank you both very much. Right now, I'd like to introduce our next entrepreneur parent, Deborah Nelson of Wyatt's Dog Company. And Deborah, you have an incredible beginning of your day to share with everyone. So
good morning, everyone. I'm Wyatt's mom. Just really quickly, I was going to do my presentation as a fireside chat. And got my space together with Wyatt's display and turned the fireplace on, and gas started leaking out all over. So thankfully I called 911, and within a few minutes there were 2 hook and ladders here. The fire chief and 4 firefighters who determined that the valve was indeed broken. So I've been scrambling this morning, and as I shared with Barb and Linda, it's a perfect metaphor for having your own micro business. So that's why I wanted to share that with you, as well as why I might be a little off kilter, but it's kind of like the norm for me. You always have to be ready to, you know, address whatever comes your way with a child with a disability, as you all probably know, as well as running a micro business. So can I share my screen? Can I share my screen with everyone?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And just to clear up, although I'm sitting in Linda's spot, I am not Linda. This is Colleen. Just kidding.
Let's see. Sorry, it's on my screen, but for some reason I'm not finding my thing. I have a PowerPoint for everybody. Can you see it now?
No. Can you, Colleen? No. Yeah, do you see down, you should have a button that says a green with a green arrow that says share screen.
Yeah, I'm sharing screen, but it's not showing what's on my screen. Okay, well, I'll start talking. That's too bad because I really wanted everyone to see it in the pictures.
You can always send us those slides, Deborah, and we can email them to all the attendees. So
Can she forward the presentation to somebody else and they can share the screen while she talks through it?
Yeah, I also needed it as my the basis for my talk. Sorry everyone for this
okay.
This challenge.
Well, as long as you can see your screen, can you just follow it?
Yeah, it's just I wanted to go through the website. It's like this is like a very pictorial type of experience.
Okay.
I don't know why it's on my screen, but it's not showing. Okay, so I'll go ahead. And I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
The pictures of Wyatt are really beautiful, and with him interacting with the dogs and his team, you know, they kind of really tell the story. So this is my son Wyatt. He's at school today, and actually his program director Jenny Rosenberg is on this call. So hi Jenny. I don't know if you can pull Wyatt in. I didn't know if that would be an option, but Wyatt says hello to everyone. Wyatt is a 17-year-old boy. We live in Arlington Heights, and we have so much in common with Caroline and her mom. We're also a dynamic duo of 2. I have a daughter, Sophie, who's works for the U.S. Department of Public Health in New York. Had beautiful photos to show you of Wyatt and all of his friends and everything, but you'll see that later. We are actually customers of Caroline's. We purchased Caroline's Birdie tweets for Wyatt's Grammy, who is a bird lover. And we're really impressed with everything with your business. So kudos. I can't even, you're welcome. I can't even begin to say how many parallels there are between our 2 stories and our businesses. I could basically just say ditto to everything that you guys just shared, with a couple of, you know, nuances, but everything from the right size and the pace, and kind of getting tired of people saying, oh, you should go on Shark Tank. Like everything that you guys said, I fully agree with. So just know that I you know, second all of that. But I'm going to walk you through Wyatt's story and some recommendations that we have. Oh, that's so helpful.
I went onto his website and I'm sharing
Thank
my
you.
screen. So
Yeah.
I
I'm
will
gonna just-
try my best to follow what you're saying, and if I can pull something up here, I
Oh,
will.
that's great. So yeah, just so you guys can get the visual. So Wyatt, so I started planning, you know, with NSSEO and with Connected Community and a bunch of other great moms, some of whom are on this call, of older kids, like, you know, getting a head start, because I'm a strategic planner by trade and nature. And I knew that Wyatt had some amazing things in store, and I wanted to be there, you know, to help him find those. So I was going on to all these workshops and stuff, and my favorite one, I can remember it like it was yesterday, had to do with finding employment or starting a micro business for your loved one with a disability. And it was sort of like what we're doing today, but I was on the other side. And there were some very specific inventories, so to speak, that were shared. And it had to do with mostly, you know, who is your child? What do they like to do? What are their interests? And what are their skills? And trying to put that all together in a recipe to help them find something that would be true to them and good for them. And so, you know, I was thinking about that constantly. And one of the things that I really recommend is keeping your eyes and ears open. No matter how old your child is, if you're looking for an opportunity for them to start a business, or I'm going to talk about other options, keep your eyes and ears open, because that's how Wyatt's business started. It was his own idea. And if I hadn't been there and kind of like really clued in to what he was saying, I almost missed it. So Wyatt loves Halloween. He loves dogs, really kind of all animals, including birds and squirrels like Caroline. And he loves Halloween for the theatrical nature of it. He's very theatrical. And we were in his room one night after school, and Wyatt said, "Trick or treats for dogs." And he is very limited in his expressive language, but very high with his receptive. But he said, "Trick or treats for dogs." And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea." You know, Halloween was a few days away. And I said, "That I don't think anyone's ever done that." Mind you, it was COVID and no one was going to be trick-or-treating, but we knew that we'd still be visiting friends or whatnot. So I started thinking about trick-or-treats for dogs, and no sooner did he say that, he points to the skeleton decoration. I saved it. It was hanging in his room, and he pointed to it and said, "Bones." And I thought Wyatt was on to his next subject. And I said, "Yeah, our body's made of bones. That's right, Wyatt." And he literally said, quote unquote, "No, silly, bones for the dogs." And I thought, oh, wow, that's a really smart correlation. And I started to think about it in my head. And then we went to my computer and I Googled dog bone pans or treat cookie cutters. On Amazon, it came up with a ton. My favorite were the Nordic Ware dog bone trays. This is the first one we bought. It has a very nice patina on it because it's been used. It's probably made 1,000 bones. So we bought one of these. We went to the library and we checked out books on what's healthy and tasty for dogs. And we started to make some dog bones and we gave them out to friends as trick or treats for their dogs. we were surprised when everyone said how much they loved these. The people loved them and their dogs loved them. And they said, how can we get more? And I said, well, it was just something that we did for Halloween. And they said, well, we'll pay for it. Like numerous people said that. And I thought, okay, you know, Wyatt can make some more. So he did. And people kept telling their neighbors and their friends, and they kept asking for them. So that's how his business really started. I think we started out just like putting them in baggies or something. But then we realized we're onto something here. And I said, Wyatt, do you want to start a business? And he said, yes. And I said, what do you want to call it? And he said, Wyatt's Dog Company. So we bought more pans and we made more, and we started making different types of recipes, and we're big foodies and love cooking. So we started making some gourmet flavors, like we made turducken for Thanksgiving. We made a chicken shawarma version, basically any kind of ethnic food that we liked to eat, we turned it into a dog version, and people really like that. Around that time, I was going to a consignment shop in Arlington Heights, and I was telling the woman about Wyatt. Mary, never met Wyatt. It turns out she's a special ed teacher. She loved the idea. She said, I want to meet Wyatt and I want to sell his dog bones in my shop, the Sunflower Shop, which was next to Thuringer Meats in Arlington Heights on Arthur. So we made a really great partnership with Mary in the Sunflower Shop. We had to come up with packaging. I found like basically all of our supplies come from Amazon. I found these. This is what Wyatt's packages look like now. In the very beginning, I was just making, like printing out paper from my computer, cutting it with a paper cutter, and then Wyatt was glue sticking it on, and they were falling off all the time. Now one of our advancements is having found this woman that makes these adhesive labels for them, and she custom makes them for each flavor. That was one very simple development that happened of many that got us to better efficiencies and just made it easier for Wyatt to participate and have a kind of production line. So Wyatt had a trunk show as sort of like a grand opening at the Sunflower, and we were really surprised when a Daily Herald reporter showed up, as well as about 50 other people that were friends, family, neighbors, strangers. It was a packed fall day. The reporter was there. She did a story that ran the day after. It's right here. And the headline is Hersey student with Down syndrome starts own dog treat company. His products sell out in 2 hours, which they did. So the day that ran, my phone started ringing off the hook. And a lot like Caroline's journey, you know, you kind of got to one hurdle and the next, and you're not really sure which direction to go, and you don't necessarily know if you're going to take advantage of an opportunity or not. This was in the very beginning. So what became really clear with those calls, again, like Caroline, it was during COVID. So that was partly why Wyatt started his business when he did. We might not have like driven so hard if it wasn't COVID and if school was in person, but it really helped fill a void for him. So all these parents were calling saying, you know, how can my student get involved? And I thought, wait, this is Wyatt's Dog Company. And then it took me a second to realize oh my gosh, this is about something so much bigger. And we created Wyatt's mission, and his mission is about empowering others and giving back to charities. So Wyatt quickly got a team of other teens who they turned out to all be boys, and you know, they were wearing masks and 2 at a time coming into our tiny kitchen and making dog bones. I made business cards for Wyatt and for each of the other boys so that they would really know that they were a part of this business and feel good about it. Adam was our master baker. He liked doing a lot of the mixing and putting into the pans. I quickly realized that, just like was mentioned before, there's different opportunities for different people to get involved on the quote unquote production line based on their skills and interests. So like for Wyatt, he's got tactile issues. He didn't like touching the dough at first. He does now, but Adam would put the dough in. Wyatt liked pouring the ingredients into the Cuisinart, pressing the button. He liked counting out the finalized, final baked bones. He liked putting them in the packages and doing the labels and things like that. So we had a number of people involved, and it really just started to take off. And then by Thanksgiving, I mean, mind you, this was like a month later, I got a call from Erin Ivory at WGN. And she did a story that ran over Thanksgiving weekend. It was a feel-good segment about Wyatt's dog company. And then that was like really a launching pad. By then I knew that we needed a website. And one of my other themes, which I can't get into all of the village that it took to get this going, but I called my business colleague and friend, Jim Burke at Lynx Technology, and explained what was going on. And he just like rallied. He bought like 3 versions of Wyatt's domain name. He connected us with a web designer that created the website. And that's one of the hurdles now. She retired and passed the keys over to me, and now it needs like serious updating. So when you look at it, there's stuff out of place, it's outdated. That's like our next project. But you know, word to the wise that when you take this on, you need to be able to have the time to do things like that. So things were going really great, and by Christmas, Wyatt had customers around the world. He had an order from a US Marine base in Japan. And we created an angel investor program because it was really costly to keep up with all the ingredients. The handmade gluten-free and human-grade ingredients, like Bob's Red Mill gluten-free flour, smokehouse bacon, peanut butter, all those things are expensive. So plus people were coming into the store at the Sunflower, after they saw the article, they were just like leaving $100 bills and envelopes for Wyatt. It was amazing. So it was actually the angels that like self-identified that made us realize, let's create an angel investor program. So there you can see some of our early angel investors. So someone can become an angel investor, you know, through us or online, and with a donation of $100 or more, we provide a nice angel investor certificate that Wyatt hand signs, as well as an angel ornament that he makes, and we send it or give it to them. So right now we have about 20 angel investors, and we sent to them an annual report And then we also send them cards that we just sent them all personalized cards at Halloween to thank them for their support at Wyatt's 3rd anniversary. And then we'll send them cards today for Thanksgiving and also for Christmas, because we are you know, truly grateful for their support. Many of them don't, you know, even really buy the bones, or they're just like purely philanthropic gifts. So throughout all of this, really having the right size and pace has been important. Since that first fall, Wyatt's business has grown. It could have grown a lot more than it has. The sunflower shop ended up closing. It was during a summer, so we thought, okay, we still want to be out there. Like Caroline, Wyatt really thrives on being in front of people. And as his business really set in for him, he started to take a lot of pride in it. It's something that his face just lights up when you say Wyatt's Dog Company. He knows it's his. We made these t-shirts. Wyatt picked out his logo. These are handmade silkscreen t-shirts. We went to the business called Blink Tees in Schaumburg. We do all of our business with other small local businesses, because that's how our world turns. And we just started getting more like branding out there. The website was done at that point. Other people wanted to plug in. Maybe they were far away. So we have this online store. If you want to click on that tab, we sell the t-shirts. We also turned Wyatt's logo into note cards. We have his tagline, pure positivity, trademarked. Remember, again, it was COVID. People really needed to have something to stay positive about. People were adopting and rescuing dogs left and right, so that the timing worked really well. And on the back of the note cards, when we alternate print runs with our different charity partners on there. If you'd like to click on the charity partners, we'll show you those. So Wyatt really, he picked these out himself, but with me, I mean, these were really all of the charities that he was participating with. He's been a member of the National Association for Down Syndrome since he was born. Really all of these. The only one that I really added to the list was Resources for Community Living. I was on the board at the time because, once again, I was like that mom of the younger person that was going to end up needing those services later on. So I was trying to get involved and support the cause on the early side, for housing and transportation for people with disabilities. But, you know, kind of like Caroline's, these are all disability related organizations. And in our model, which just kind of happened and we're still really good with, we don't really plan on changing. Wyatt and I don't receive any money out of it. There's not that much money and to begin with. I'm a single mom. We're like on a shoestring budget. Our model is such that the money that comes in, if you want to see that donation jar, everything other than the transactions that come in through his website, it's pretty much cash. And we keep enough to cover our expenses, and then we give the rest to the charities. And we usually alternate, like this month is Salute for Veterans Day. Next month is Midwest Council for Disabilities. And the sign showing that month's charity partners up at Wyatt's display at the store. How much more time do I have?
I think it's probably time for you to wrap up, and so you
Yeah,
can. do some
That's what
Q&A.
I thought.
That would be great.
So, my suggestions are to really make sure that you've got your eyes and ears open to your child. And a micro business isn't for everyone. I have a background in fundraising, marketing, strategic planning. I'm crafty. I love this. I am so glad about this, but other people might not be, and it might not be the right fit for your kid. I would encourage everyone to take a look at other options like volunteering. Like, your kid doesn't have to have their own business. They could get more out of a volunteer opportunity, or employment. This is a lot of work. It's a huge commitment. We do not have a 501c3. We are not a registered business. Another similarity that we have with Caroline is that we're making dog food. If you start getting into the area of making human food, you have to go through all kinds of FDA stuff. It gets really complicated. So there's a reason that we have left it simple with the cash donations, and we just pay taxes on the revenue that comes in through the website. But ultimately it's about doing what's the right match for your kid. And this might look cool and fun, but again, it's not for everyone. And if anyone wants to follow up with me, I'd be glad to talk further. We also do corporate orders and gift baskets. We just got a corporate order today. And right now, the last thing I want to say is that when the sunflower shop closed, we did the pop-up stores during the summer, and then thankfully Robin's Nest, another special ed teacher, has a little shop inside her store in downtown Arlington Heights. It's ROBYN_S Nest. Wyatt does events throughout the year. Please check out his Facebook page at WyattDogCompany.com, or yeah, it's Facebook.com Wyatt Dog Company. So yeah.
Yeah, Deborah, can I ask you a question about why you donate all of any of the profits?
Yeah, because we got so much out of it. We're not doing it for the money. You know, we're doing it for the experience of it. You know, it's for Wyatt, it's therapy, it's confidence building, it's recreation, it's social, it's work, it's all that stuff built into one. You know, in my presentation, I had a slide for my #1 resource recommendation is the Illinois Small Business Development Center at Harper College. You can just Google it. Tom Castle is the director, and he's been my advisor on whether or not the way we're doing things is kosher. And I just we're not ready to start taking a paycheck and then having to answer to the tax man and have everything set up correctly. We're not ready to do that.
Okay, that's great to know.
Yeah.
You're just getting so many kudos, comments, and
I'm just
thanking
looking.
you. Great work and great presentation. Congratulations.
Shout out to Cherie Humphrey and her family for being #1 customers. Hi, Cherie.
Awesome. And you speak so much to the business model is really about having a purpose and how it builds community and how it gives Wyatt and his friends and you all a super connections in the social capital and business and community capital.
Deborah,
which
we
is,
had a request for you to repeat the name of. the
Yeah, I
place.
saw that. So it's the Illinois Small Business Development Center at Harper College. You can find it on the Harper College website. So the Illinois houses these centers at community colleges throughout the state, and they provide free services. And they can link you up with like an accountant for advice or a lawyer for advice. We did that.
great. All right. Thank you very much, Deborah.
Thank you.
People can connect with you and Wyatt on your website, which is wonderful. And we appreciate, and we hope everything goes well and you get your gas line
Thank
repairs
you.
done. That would
And
be
she could be
wonderful.
coming back any soon.
Yeah, right.
Friday.
Okay. Bye. Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
including us. Bye,
So
everyone.
glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to our next presenter. This is Stephen's Woodshop, and Gail Webster is his mom. Stephen is not available today because he's with his rec and leisure coach on his regular Friday outing. So we're looking forward to Gail's sharing her story. It should just be wonderful.
Actually, I think it's going to be Kevin.
Oh, is it Kevin? Oh,
yes.
Kevin Webster.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Kevin Webster's going to be
And
Stephen's
it
father.
looks like, there we go. They're all here.
Go.
Try to get everybody in
Yay.
the screen here. Yes,
Welcome.
Yes, Stephen's rec leisure coach had to cancel today, so Stephen's able to be with us today.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So can you see my screen here?
Yes, we can.
Again.
Okay, I'm trying to get this in a. Okay, let me get back to the beginning here. Sorry about that. Oops. Don't get dizzy here. I figured out. I was trying to get the full screen view, but so here we're going to talk about Stephen's Woodshop, which is another example of a customized self-employment for a person with disability. I'm Kevin Webster, and my wife Gail is here with me, so it's going to be a little bit of a tag team here. And Stephen is here too with us. So we're going to go over some little quick background on Stephen, just a very brief on customized employment, which most of you probably already know about. And then kind of review how we got going on the business and several aspects of the business, from the vision up until down to the results. Just a little background information on Stephen first. He's 35 years old. He's got cognitive disabilities, seizure disorder, and is nonverbal. He does require 24/7 care, but he can and often is left to his own chosen activities as long as there's somebody nearby. But he's very easy-going. He's very content, happy. He lives in the moment, and he's a very social person. Some of his skills or interests are gross motor skills activities, such as hammering nails, mowing lawns, or digging with shovels or backhoes. You can see a picture there of a backhoe that he just loves to get out. And we made a sandbox of dirt for him that he just digs dirt from one pile to another, and he just spends hours working on his backhoe, playing with the controls on that. Likes to shoot baskets. He also is involved in many sports activities with Special Olympics. He likes going to the zoo, watching heavy equipment in action. A lot of YouTube videos he does on heavy equipment. And he prefers to work with people. He can do one-on-one, he likes that, or in group settings. He just loves being around people all the time. Customized employment, and we've got a lot of this from Griffin Hammes, so I'm not going to spend much time on this because you probably all are pretty familiar and know what this is about, but that's the
Excuse me,
formal
Kevin,
definition.
Can you move your slide forward? I think we're still on the cover page of the first slide.
What page are you seeing now?
The cover page.
The cover page, Stephen's Woodshop.
Wow. I've been moving it. Because I'm seeing,
Okay, we'll try it again. Try this one.
what do you see now? Still the cover?
Yes.
Let's see if I'm. I don't know what to do. I'm sure you can see the cover sheet, but you can't see the other page. I'm scrolling through them, but they're just apparently not showing up for you.
I can try to load it, Kevin, and see if maybe I can get it to advance for you. So give me a minute,
Okay,
but go ahead and keep talking. We'll catch up.
This one.
okay. So first, the working definition of for customized employment for us was to develop employment around and with the individual's skills interest at the center. And that's what we've done with Steve, and that turned out to be a good fit for him. As some of the others have said, it's not for everybody, but it seemed to work pretty well for us and for Steven. And so that's what we did. Okay. So this is, you're running the screen now, Linda, is that right?
Yes, this is Colleen, and yes, I'm running the screen.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I've got Linda's name in my box. She's my item.
Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. So we wanted to identify a job that really fit around Stephen and his interest and skills. And so we asked ourselves, what does Stephen, we didn't have to ask ourselves, we knew, what does he enjoy doing that we could focus in a productive endeavor and stuff. And so when he was younger, he just loved to hammer. He would just hammer literally hundreds, maybe thousands of nails into boards at random and stuff. And he just liked to build things and to hammer at stuff. And so we tried to think about, okay, well, what we can do with that interest that was a big interest to his. He had those gross motor skills and liked to do that. So go to the next page. So when he started working with a job coach soon after he got out of school, his job coach asked that question, what does he like to do and stuff? And so he came up with this idea on how to channel Stephen's hammering interest into a decorative lawn garden wishing well. And that's kind of how it began. So if you go to the next page.
Go through quickly.
So this is the start of the first wishing well, where they cut boards, 2x4 boards into 6 inches long, and put them into a circle and then staggered every row.
Can you turn the page. Turn the page.
I'm not turning it. So turned, okay. It starts staggered every row so that he could nail, and every one of those boards has 4 nails goes into them. And so he put those 4 nails in and build up the wishing well. And this is the next step in the process. And then this is where he added a crossbar and a handle and a bucket to complete the process. Go to the next page. And this was the completion of the first wishing well. And this was the real impetus and the really start of trying to launch into a business for Stephen, to try to take that concept and then develop it into a business that had Stephen at the center of it for things that he could build and like to do. So if you go to the next page, this is one of our first customers, how when they bought a wishing well, they took it and put it in their garden, and they dressed it up a little bit with, not quite a bit, to make it look really nice with some stain on it and some flowers around it. Go to the next page. Later, we keep evolving from month to month to year and different features on wishing wells as well as other products. And we added a ledge on it to make it look a little nicer and put in some optional shingles for it. Okay, next page. And then a lot of things, most of the things we do with Stephen, we tried to find a way to make it where he can do more of the work himself. And so I had an interest in developing some manufacturing aids for Stephen. We call them jigs, things that are little tools or items that can help him do more independent in putting these blocks together. So we designed and built a jig for him to be able to go to a drill press, and then he can drill 4 holes in each one of those blocks. And he loves to take those blocks, put them in this jig, and then go from the 4 different corners. That gives him a visual cue on where to put the nails and how to nail them when he actually goes to the next step of the assembly. So he spends a lot of time drilling the 4 holes in each board, as well as even before that, cutting the boards into the correct length. And then we build a jig for him to be able to then take those boards that are or have the holes in them over to this jig, and you can see he layers each board in each slot that's in there, and then he nails them down. And then when he gets one row nailed, that jig, that silver piece you see will be lifted up and rotated 30 degrees, and then he puts it back down again and he builds the next row, and he keeps building each row of the well in this manner. And he loves to spend time hammering and nailing those together. Next page. So in terms of the company, in terms of how we really got started, we had a path meeting, which is where a bunch of people that have an interest in Stephen get together and start brainstorming in terms of how to take this concept and this idea and to flesh it out and to give some more direction and guidance and ideas in terms of how to take the interest of Stephen and channel it into a productive business. So that was a very productive meeting that we had now almost 10, 12 years ago. And then we as parents took a few business development and marketing courses, and that's one we are not well versed in at all, but we need to get something to get going there. So we took some courses. The next page. So we started it in 2010 with the help of a lot of people. We figured out a legal business name, a tax ID, website, brochures, QuickBook accounting, job site tools, the logo, etc. There, we put all that together with a lot of help from a lot of people to get us to do that. We did receive a couple grants for tools and materials to get the business started, local grant, and one at the state of Ohio that we got a good sized grant to buy a lot of supplies.
Through Griffin.
Yes, Griffin Hammis, so is very instrumental and helpful in guiding us through all this process. We met with a local small business development center to kind of give us some more mentoring and teaching on how to do a business and give us some counsel there. And then again, we counseled with Griffin Hammis. So if you don't know them, you should get to know them because they're very helpful and instrumental in this type of a customized employment. They gave us some good direction on what type of the business to set up, whether it's a sole proprietorship or LLC or partnership, which we had no clue. And I can't tell you, I really could talk about it well now, but we put that together at the help of Griffin Hammis and Associates. Next page. Yeah. Is this the next page? It probably is. The company, we
Yes.
established tax exempt account with several vendors. We set up bank account, set up business accounting system. And this is all done at an amateur level, believe me. This is not a professional thing we're doing. We kind of, Gail and I are kind of working all this behind the scenes the best we can to kind of support the business there. And then one was a really good godsend as we received a local cabinet maker in a nearby community offered and donated space to Stephen in a corner of his cabinet shop that he works out of in a nearby town. And that's been very helpful. And he's been working there for now 10, 12 years in there every week there. So that's good. That's a picture of him up there at that shop there. Okay, next page. We developed, again, all these things were help that we got from a lot of other people in terms of how to develop a business plan, identify marketing and advertising outlets where we still can continue to try to develop and to grow. Several areas in the community of newspapers and magazines that heard about Stephen's Woodshop, and they published some articles talking about the business and Stephen and what he does. We purchased tools and materials with that grant money. We set up a website, printed brochures and business cards, and got it all going about 12 years ago. And then we, at all the time, we could constantly try to develop additional products around what Stephen likes to do and how he can participate. All of these he does use a job coach, which I'll probably say later on, but we try to find ways of how Stephen can participate in either painting or the nailing or the cutting with saws with supervision, the different things of the steps. So every product that we take on, we try to find a way to how can Stephen be integral into this product, whatever it turns out to be. Next page. We diversified with 2 smaller wishing wells and some other new products that use a wishing well base, things that can, again, diversify. We made a tabletop wishing well that can be used as a wedding or other needs that people have for a small decorative wishing well that's more inside. And then we took the base of it and just made it into a planter that he can sell, just planters. And we've sold several of those. We have a small, medium, and large version of all these wishing wells and planters and stuff. Next page. And then we continue, as I said, try to develop additional products. We recently, about several years ago, started using recycled pallets. And he also sells karate boards to a karate school where he cuts them to the right length. And so we take some of those, when they break the karate boards, they give us the scraps and we take them back and we build different products out of those. And one on the bottom right is a bee house that he's used recycled karate products that he sold also there too. So those are just a picture of about 7 or 8 different items that are additional products in the product line that we make, that Stephen makes. Next page. Turn to the business now. Stephen utilizes the county funded job coaching support services. So we work with our local DD department and they supply the funds that we hire a job coach through a developer to work with Stephen on every day that he works to build these products. He's working out of 2 locations, the donated space at the cabinet maker that I mentioned nearby, and then also the basement of our house. I have an interest in woodworking myself, and so I set up a shop there, and Stephen spends a lot of time down there building different items that he makes. Business goals. Our goal is to keep Stephen working consistently by building projects that hold his interest and fit within his skills. For sales income to support the business, although the focus is not amassing money, we just want to make it so that it can support the products and to keep Stephen interested in building and being a productive member of society. We're not focused on making money. It isn't our focus. We want to do things to honor our God and how he's put us on this earth to do certain things. And we're trying to do that with us and with Stephen. And then we want to demonstrate to others with disabilities that successful entrepreneurship is possible to encourage others in their pursuit of meaningful employment. Next page. So some of the marketing we do several craft fairs. We just finished 2 craft fairs in the fall here at local. And that's the picture of the booth that we had of the different items that Stephen makes. We'll go to a garden center or a local karate school, local news articles, word of mouth, Etsy. We have a site out on Etsy, and we have a website that we've put together to try to advertise and to sell things out there.
Next business Facebook page.
The supports, the family, obviously, the job developer, job coaches, our local county board of DD, our county support coordinator, worked with the vocational rehabilitation in the state of Ohio at the beginning. We have a lot of friends that support us and support Stephen and pulling this off. I'll put another shout out to Griffin Hammis for their support and their launch of helping here. We were very fortunate to know Dave Hammis, who some of you may know and stuff at the beginning, that really helped us a lot. We have a lot of prayer partners and we have a lot of connections in the community that we try to get Stephen out in not only his job, but in a lot of things he does to the community. So we try to, Gail's a good networker and making community connections. So we really try to foster that and make that happen too. Next page. The funding, our local ARC at the beginning of Butler County helped us with some funding. Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities helped us. We have a level 1 in Ohio. I think every state probably has a little name, different name for it, but in Ohio, we have a level 1 Medicaid waiver for general services that take care of the job coaching that he has. The Ohio Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation, supplemental security income. Dave Hammis really helped us in utilizing a pass and how to put that together so you can kind of maintain some of the Social Security income and not lose that. So we use that at the beginning for several years. Local and state grant money. We teamed up with our local business development center in the nearby county, in the nearby city. Private funds and the sales of Stevens Woodshop. Okay.
Next. Oh,
Is that the next
oh,
page?
this is what our funding is used for, yeah.
Okay, other resources, community engagement. We participating in local community events is valuable for networking. And again, this is where Gail has a lot of skills in being able to do that, but networking and advertising and support by getting out in the community and talking about Stephen and having him just be another part of a person in the community. We went to many events and farmer markets, local festivals, craft fairs, give presentations, and many social gatherings that we do. The personal results, Stevens Woodshop has been in business now for about 12 years. He's working and known in the community. We're always amazed when we're out somewhere at the grocery store or Walmart or somewhere where somebody comes up and points out, hey, that's Stephen. And so he's really well known in the community. He proudly produces some viable products. Show him these. This is a bee house he's showing you that he made a bee house. And this is another one where I made a jig for him to be able to drill all these holes in here. And he works with a job coach to cut the board and put it together. Stephen's skills are utilized doing something he likes to do. You gotta show him something else. Turn that around. Turn around this way. Right this way, like that. Right. This is a solo cup holder that he builds, and we engrave some words on the front here that said "Mark your cup and drink up," and they put some pens in there, and he likes to sell those too and build those and sell those. Sales. We've sold hundreds of products with a wide variety of products. We'd like to sell more wishing wells. We haven't been able to sell as many as we'd like to on that. So, but that's really his first love is.
Shipping is an issue with that.
Yeah, shipping. The big ones are really heavy. So trying to ship some of the big wishing wells are really difficult. So we have to sell those locally. We can sell them anywhere, but the price for shipping them is pretty high. We have sold other products nationwide though through the website and through word of mouth.
Etsy.
And other venues that we've go to where we sell. And then earnings, the sale income have exceeded expenses every year, which is what one of our goals. So he just, not that he makes a lot of money, but at least he supports the business and put more money into the business. Lessons learned. Engage the services of developmental disabilities personnel whom you know that are really interested in you and Stephen to try to make it happen. Network as much as possible. This is a picture of Stephen at a local
Chamber of
Commerce meeting that they have where young people interested in businesses. A path, which I talked about earlier, about trying to get a group of people around you and your family, your friends, a member in the community, your church, whatever, people you know, to talk about how to develop and foster
the goal, a plan, and idea.
Locate a qualified job developer. We had a really good one who put together, gave us a lot of help and guidance to be able to get the right fit for Stephen and all the supports that needed to go in order to make it work. it did take a lot of work for us. It still takes a lot of work for us. It doesn't come easy. I know there's some other people said, well, we want somebody else to do that for their individual, just like we did for Stephen, but they kind of want to just let it happen. It doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of work by people that are very invested and committed to the individual. And then these are just the reference information. This is Stephen's website link, his email address. He's got a Facebook page. I have to reference Griffin Hammis again for their help in getting us going. And then there's two really nice, what we think are really nice videos out there that the local children's hospital did a video of Stephen and the business and getting him going. And then
Ohio BVR did the other one.
pardon?
Ohio BVR did the other one.
Ohio BVR put the other one together to talk about customized employment and what that is and how it works. And it's there's one 5 or 7 minute segment in there that talks about Stephen and his startup. And I think the last page is a picture of the cover page of the website. So that was a whirlwind fly through. I was worried about all the numbered slides there, so I apologize if I went too quick or there's too much there, but at least hopefully you got a little idea of what the Stephen's Woodshop business looks like and Stephen there. So questions, comments?
Great. Thank you very, very much. This was excellent. We're running out of time, but I have two quick questions that I think you'll be able to answer in one answer. One is Stephen, are you a salaried employee of your business?
No,
Okay.
all the money goes back into.
We've put all the
business.
money back into the business stuff there. So he legally could draw a salary from it. And there's probably some money we could do that, but Stephen and us, we don't have an interest in, our motive, as I said, isn't for money and stuff there. And we've been able to meet his needs in other means, other ways too. So no, he's not drawing a salary, although he very well could.
And then and so it sounds like what your goal has been is for Stephen, for you to be able to do what you love and what interests you, correct?
Yeah, and to keep him busy and to keep him doing things in the community, yes.
Okay, great. Everyone, so someone just asked, can we post a video of a link to the second video in the chat? Well,
Yeah,
we have.
I'll get it in there here.
Yeah, we'll get it. Okay, thank you. And then, but I want to thank you very much. It's Stephen, your products are absolutely fantastic and so creative. And I love what it speaks to about creating a business out of something that you love, out of your interests and your skills. That is just fantastic. And then all the references to Griffin Hammis and Marcy Frawley, Hartman, who's on here. This is fantastic. You can also check out Griffin Hammis's website. They specialize in customized employment, training and guidance as well. So we are looking for, we will send you anything afterwards for your information. And thank you all for participating. Again, this video will be on our CTC YouTube channel. In the near future, you can always go to our YouTube channel to see any of our previous sessions and summits. So for your information, thank you, everyone. Thanks for the inspiration. Thank you very much to Stephen.
you.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thanks.